Now I want to show you Chevy guys that aren't very familiar with boats something pretty cool about them. This is what they call a Mag 350. It's 300 horsepower. It's made by Mercury Marine or Mercruiser. Now the cool thing about it is this motor is pretty much what you would see in like a 96, 97, 98 model Chevy pickup 1500 or something like that, with the Vortec 5.7 liter in it. There's quite a bit of similarities. The long block is pretty much one of those, maybe with a different camshaft in it, of course, because this engine made 300 horsepower prop horsepower. I think Mercury advertised it as 325 horse to the crank. The intake manifold is very similar to what you would find on the pickup trucks, but it's not. It's actually got actual multi-port injectors on it, individual external injectors. So everybody who is actually familiar with the GM Vortec 350 that came in that era of pickup truck actually had the injector spider, is what they called it, instead of actually having fuel inject. I'm pretty sure it shares the same throttle body, and the upper plenum part of this engine is actually made of aluminum instead of plastic. However, the lower intake is actually made out of cast iron, so this is actually a much heavier manifold. But if you were to want to say boost one of these engines, this would be kind of a ideal manifold to use if you actually want to make a boosted application in like a truck or a car or something like that. Now that motor is actually a newer engine than what was actually in the boat. The boat's a 99 year model, and that engine is probably mid 2000s, early 2010, somewhere around in there. To me, I kind of think that the original engine that came in this Silverton is actually a little more interesting to me. Now this is the engine we just took out, and it is also a Mag 350, just a different generation, or generation before the other one. What is cool about this one is it's a multi-port injection, but the intake almost looks like you know, like a carbureted intake manifold, and then it has the injector rails for all 8 injectors, and then it appears to be like a Vortec throttle body on it as well. What's cool to me about this engine is it's actually powered by a MEFI 3, I think it's what they consider this one. It's a MEFI 3 ECM. Now it's actually, I believe, a batch fire system instead of a sequential system, and the other one I believe is sequential. I still kind of want to use this one as a project of some kind. I mean, the gears are turning in my head. I just think it's an interesting looking setup. But here's another thing about both of the engines, that they are pre-catalyst, and there is no O2 sensor on them whatsoever. So there's like literally no way for it to adjust fuel trim through the exhaust, which is kind of weird to me. Well, that's enough rambling. We have lots to do.